Dúr Masaha, Fáilse is céad an ócéad specialta seo. Reverend Father Simons, Gavigan family, musicians far and near, who most of you knew Frank and would have played with him. Friends of Coltis, Senator Labhrás of Murchú, our steward of Coltis and his wife Una, and our chairperson, our president of Coltis, new president, Seamus McCormack and his wife Teresa. Senator Donny Cassidy, Councillor Robert Troy and Councillor Johnny Penrose. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honour and privilege for me to be here as Cathaoirleach of the Frank Gavigan branch of Coltis to welcome you all here to the unveiling of this monument to honour our great dear friend and great musician Frank. It's in my opinion, it's right and fitting that it should be here in Rathconrath, his home village, where he played all his music up in Gunnings at all the sessions. And please God, after the session and here, we hope that some of the musicians will go up to Gunnings and play a few tunes there where he played all his life. I would like to thank my fellow officers and committee for all their hard work arranging this today. The weather has kept fine for us, thank God. And I would like to say a special word of thanks to one man in particular, Mick Foster. I don't know why, but you know, he's fairly well known and he has a lot of contacts. So he was a great help. And he put a lot of work into this. So I would really like to thank you all very much for coming today. And after, later on, there'll be refreshments in Gunnings for everybody. So without further ado, I would like to call on Senator Labhrás of Murchú, our steward on Coltis, to do the unveiling for us.
A Cathaoirleach, a Cheanara an Tanad, Uachtaráin an Coltis, Corlóri, Muincherí Gavigan, agus a Carda. Caithimérá go gurna sé glanda crí ormsa go pársanta go bhfuil an ócáid seo ag tarlú an seo inniu. Mar tá spáineann sé an díolseacht a bhaineann leis an bobal. Nor a smuoiníonn siad duine mór na rá ina measc féin, agus go bhfuil sé ag teastáil uatha, cuimhneacháin agus comóra a dhéanamh duine cosúil le Frank Gavigan. Tá clú agus cáil dá dói buinte amach ag Frank I measc ceoltóirí agus duine go bhfuil simachás sa ceol tradiisiúnta. De bhuaigh sé créimh na hÉireann Siar I bhfad 1900 agus a 52. So I slí tá míad a caint faoi stair an seo inniu. Ach ag an am géine níl darú déanta an bhar sin, mar de chabhraigh sé có mór sin le daoine eile, agus de thug sé an ceoldóibh agus níos táchtaí fós thug siad grá an ceoldóibh freisin. So ní léon áras faoi ach go méid caint Frank Gavigan radas a bheith sim ag daoine sa ceol gael. Agus an leacht cuimhneacháin atá a gcuineann seo. Níl aon áras ormsa a rís ach ins na blianta atá róin beidh daoine ag féachant an leacht cuimhneacháin seo agus ag déanamh fiosrú agus ag caint faoi an té atá lúide an leacht. So tá míad go mór faoi cumíonn ag an goiste, a smuoinigh an bheart seo a dhéanamh agus a chuir an bheart céine I Grieg. It's an absolute honour and a privilege for me to be invited today to unveil a monument to one of the great iconic figures of the Irish traditional music movement. I was delighted to meet Frank's family here today, and I don't have to tell you all the reasons that you have for being proud of such a gentleman, because you will see by the musicians who have turned up here today, and I can see they have come from far afield, the great affection which is held for Frank. And I think one of the main reasons for that, not just his musicianship, but his personality and his character as well. We're really talking history in one sense, because Frank won the All-Ireland back in 1952, which would be just 1 year after the founding of Comhaltas, which was in Mullingar. So history was in the making back at that particular time. Frank would have continued down through the years to pass on his love of music and his talent to other people. They say a prophet is seldom recognized in one's own land. Well, here's a case in point where that is not true, because the local community have decided that they want to perpetuate the memory of one of their own who has brought great credit on this community here, on the county, and indeed on Ireland as well. And as you travel through the country, if you have an interest in history, you'll see that it's dotted at crossroads with monuments to people who fought, for instance, in the War of Independence. And today they are a reminder of the sacrifices made by people in the past to ensure that our distinctive identity and our sovereignty would remain intact, and that we could feel as a people that we have a culture which is second to none. And we don't say that in the context of criticizing any other country or any other culture. But if you travel through Ireland also, and you look into the GAA pitches many days of the year, you'll see people gathered inside practicing our own games, and you'll see the parents and the young people carrying on that tradition. Traditional music is the very same, because here in this area it's quite clear that we have people who have made a huge contribution to the development of Comhaltas, Ceoltóirí, Éireann over the years. And I think of names here in County Westmeath, like the Series, for instance. I think of the O'Muinachans and the Mullallies and so many other people. Willie Reynolds, a founder member of Comhaltas, people who have made that contribution, and the results of whose work can now be found, not just in Ireland, but in the 400 branches of Comhaltas in 15 countries on 4 continents. Only for we had the Frank Gavigans, that would not have happened. Therefore, we're really honouring a giant among our community here. And we're expressing our appreciation as well. But something else I noted about today's commemoration, that as well as we expressing our appreciation, somebody like Mick Foster, who has made his name not just nationally, but internationally, and brought the good name of Ireland throughout the world and raised the flag to the top of the pole. He had been influenced by Frank Gavigan and had been helped by him. Isn't it very noble and very decent and very inspiring that he did not forget that? It would be very nice to think that all people in all walks of life would look back on their ancestors and remember those who ensured that we could enjoy the type of Ireland we have today. And music played a very definite role in that. If you look back, for instance, on the challenges that we've had in history, and I often refer to the famine as being one of those. We were in the black pit of depression as a result of that, something which was of genocidal proportions, and yet the character of the people rose up. But the young Irelanders, in order to lift the spirit of the people, what did they do? They pointed to our songs, our poetry, our writing, and they wanted to get into the hearts of the young people and say to them that no matter what challenges came our way, we could overcome those as well. Can you imagine Frank Gavigan and what he did in the playing of his music? How often he lifted the spirits, how often he inspired, how often he got people to forget about the difficulties and be positive in outlook. And having this monument here today, is one of the great reminders again that at every decade, in every century in Ireland, we've had people who came forward in a voluntary basis, gave their services, gave their talents to inspire the next generation. Is it any wonder that Ireland has a reputation of tenacity? Even today we know we have challenges, but they're nothing like the challenges that we had in the past. In 1951, when Comhaltas was founded in Mullingar, some of you may be old enough to look back at that period, but I'll tell you the kind of period it was. It was only 30 years after the War of Independence, and many of the great expectations were never realised, and the cream of this country travelled throughout the world seeking employment and then turning back and helping Ireland in return. Comhaltas was founded right in the middle of that depression at that time, and it lifted the spirits at the flagpoles. You go along, tens of thousands of people turned out at the flags in the middle of the depression, and that's lifted the spirit, together with the GAA did likewise at that time. I have no doubt that the memory of Frank Gavigan and those who will emulate his ideals will do exactly the same at the present time. So as we gather here as a community at a lovely spot here today, we'll hear music and songs and dancing, and we'll leave this spot saying, if we are to really and truly commemorate people like Frank Gavigan and the great visionaries of the past, then we do it in a positive mood. We speak up for Ireland, we help Ireland on every opportunity, and we'll make sure that its culture is always centre stage. With those words, I salute the memory of Frank Gavigan. I thank his family for having shared him with us and shared his talent as well. I thank the committee and especially Mick Foster and all of those people. I thank each and every one of them for doing something today that was symbolic of the Irish nation, and that is, we never forget greatness, and we never forget those who, when the need was there, stood with us and provided the example that has given us so many great events and so many successes. So I am now absolutely proud and privileged to unveil this monument, which was done by Michael Conway, I understand, of Nina. And Michael also did the Paddy O'Brien monument in Tipperary. So there is that symbolic link. And when you think that Paddy O'Brien married Eileen Seary, who was Jim Seary's daughter, you can see the linking of the families and the interaction. With that spirit, nothing can bow us, nothing can keep us down. And that's the memory we want to take from here today. Go raibh míle maith agaibh, go raibh rad dé ar an obair agus tá mé anam bhuairtí go léir.
and see. You know what you'll see and don't know it. There and see where you get Fiona. She'll dodge cameras at all costs. She's there behind that.
Do you want to get her?
Aye. In the time you know.
Yeah, I will.
She'll dodge everything on the place.
Thanks very much.
I was in Fiona and I was up in the wall.
Hey Andy, how are you?
How is it?
All right.
You see my uncle. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, just before we start with the music and whatever, we'll make the call on Jerry Gavigan, fine son, to say a few words on behalf of the Gavigan family.
And it's great to see he was held in such high regard, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day and have fun. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Good man, Ger, and I think Vonnie covered everyone. Just for anybody that doesn't know or didn't know, that the man that did the monument, Mike Conway from Neen, he's over there. He has the same hairstyle as I have, and he has dark glasses. And the man that did the ironwork, the railing round about it, is Willie Kavanagh. He's sitting there on the fourpennies as well. He's nearly as good at the ironwork as he is at the banjo. Now, that's the holy all of it. We're now going to... Oh yeah, I nearly forgot. Tom Foley and Teddy Maher, they dug out the foundations and put them in, and then Celine Geraghty arranged all the stones. And Fiona carried the bags. Now we're going to have a bit of entertainment from the Straw Boys.
Let me won't get in the way of the camera.
You take it or can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, do your dumpy down with none. Right.
You.
I thought, don't we keep the blue light on, slow them all down now.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
Didn't need to stay so long. Talking to him. How's your job going? Is there any more talk about cuts and CI?
Ah, they're talking all the time, sure. Yeah.
You put that out and on and show it to. Don't tell it.
Yeah.
He was telling me about you.
Yeah.
She always tells me.
Yeah, well, good fun. Well, good fun.
Ah, yes. He said you were a hard yes man. She told me that. I was out here last Friday week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The stuff I collect.
And
Collect didn't come up.
I know.
She'll be up next Friday.
That's very good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very good.
And she after told me that you used to be cutting to him in the boat.
Yeah.
Are you driving there yet?
I am.
Oh, yeah.
I am.
You tell him about him now because you have the film now. You put it in the bus and show it to him. I want to go up and see the football.
Yeah. Right, Joe.
Yeah, God bless you.
The cardi is right.
Ready? Perfect. Great.
Stand back a little bit, you'll get the wall off.
Which particulars?